Thanks to the support as a channel member, Glenn Patrick. Well, boys and girls, today it's my favourite tournament in all of Football Manager, the Club World Cup. I really love it because it's in the middle of pre-season. Half the squad are away on international duty, so we can't use them. And it's just really good. But if we find a way to win it, I will go top of the English Hall of Fame before I retire. So I actually have to try in it for once. Hello and welcome to Club 6, part 17 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we've got the Club World Cup as far as the quarterfinal, or if we get knocked out. I'm not going to show you the group games because we're playing two teams. We're probably going to beat 26-0. This lot from Morocco and this lot from Mexico. So we're probably going to be fine getting through both of those two games. I will show you our quarterfinal game, assuming we get there against whoever we end up playing, just to give you an idea of all the teams that are in it. The way it kind of works out, if you're not familiar with the Club World Cup, it seems to be anyone who gets to a semi-final of a Champions League and then maybe the finals or wins some of the other continental tournaments around the world qualifies. So there's a lot of English teams, there's a lot of European teams, and generally they have these groups of three, and then there's one team from each group that you'd expect to be the one that win the group and go through to the quarterfinals. So we'd obviously expect the quarterfinals to be Arsenal, Leipzig, us, Real Madrid, Spurs, Bayern Munich, Chelsea or Barcelona is a tricky one, probably Barcelona, and then Preston. So we do have the possibility for a semi-final of all Kev teams, which would be lovely, because it could be us and actually no, there's no Spurs or Juventus. They've both left. Oh no, Spurs are there. So it could be us, Spurs, Barcelona, Preston, all in the semi-finals, which would be great. We might get the season finale, the series finale I wanted all along, of a final against Preston. Wouldn't that be a lovely thing? But we've all got to deal with all of these teams that we should be able to thump easily beforehand. And just to show how much I love this tournament, look at the amount of players we've got who are away on international duty for the first game. This is a really well-planned tournament that I wouldn't change in any way if I was one of the decision makers. Oh, nobody's fit because it's like they haven't come back for pre-season training yet. Or they have now. They came back when they realised that there was a tournament happening. So we're also not fully fit, which is nice. So this is our team at the moment. I'm going to go and play a few football matches. He wants to be an inverted winger. And, we've sold Antunes. Did I mention that? Antunes has gone to Newcastle. They offered us £74 million for him, for a player who, he's handy to have around, but he's a left-sided centre-back. We've got Corgi, we've got Boy, we've got Gabriel. So Boy's been playing alongside Corgi for the second half of the season. Corgi's now legendary at 28 years old. That's how good he is. And Gabriel is homegrown English. So we were looking to get rid of one of the left-sided centre-backs to make way for Boy anyway. I know I'm not going to be here next year, but I'm still trying to manage the club sensibly as if I am. So letting Antunes go seemed like a no-brainer. We've almost doubled our money on him in 2 years for a player who started 18 Premier League games last year. So that'll do nicely. Does mean that the club finances are actually in the black and we've got £100 million to spend, which I'm going to try and leave for the next manager. But if I see a bargain, I might not be able to help myself. But I'm going to go and play these couple of matches and should be about to meet you in the quarterfinals. Well, in an extraordinary demonstration of my ability to predict football matches, the final eight, believe it or not, was the final eight I predicted. We had a couple of big wins. We won 8-0 over Club Leon, had a week's gap, and then won 8-0. Hold on. We won 8-0 over 7-0 over Burkane, had an entire week off, won 8-0 over Club Leon, which is on both this season and last season's fixtures, and then just the 1 day off between that and the quarterfinal against Real Madrid. Like I say, really like this tournament. It's great. If we do make it through, I think the semi-final is on Wednesday. Everybody is back from international duty now, apart from Callum Montgomery, though, so that's a good thing. We can send this young kid back down to the under-21s now. He's no longer needed. So this is our team for this game against Real Madrid in the quarterfinal of the Club World Cup. It's Blanco in goal, a back four of Peralta, Corgi, Boy and Malik. Gabriel at the base of the midfield, Bellingham and Ramon ahead of him. Kone on the left, Jallo on the right, Borges up front. I don't know how good Real Madrid are going to be. I mean, it's so hit and miss in this tournament. I don't know when they played their last match. They could just be fitter than us. I know their pre-season will start later than ours because the Spanish season starts later than ours, so that might give us an advantage. I have no idea. It's a ridiculous tournament where nobody's had a competitive game yet, and then all of a sudden we've got to play against some of the other best teams in Europe. Because, of course, the final eight are all European teams. But we have just won the Champions League. So, theoretically, right now, we are the best team in Europe. Let's see if that stands for anything. Or if we're about to lose to Real Madrid, who we are behind against after less than 5 minutes. And it's a bit of a wonder goal, really, isn't it? This is some impressive stuff. That's a lovely finish. Blanco probably should be doing a little bit better than that than what he has done. We're not going to get too worried about it just yet. The game is a long one. There's plenty of time for us to find a way back in, and we've got a lot of firepower down on the bench who can come on and make a difference if need be as the game goes on. As you can see, we are starting Boy today because, as mentioned, towards the back end of last season, he was starting every league game. He is my starting centre-back now, as far as I'm concerned, alongside Corgi. This is probably our preferred back four at this point. Jallo playing it back to Bellingham, and then Borges is there playing centre forward today as a little rare treat for him, and he's got the equaliser for us. All 5'4" of him, proper complete forward, centre forward material, but it's good work as usual from Malik on the right hand side. Jallo gets to the byline, tucks it back to Bellingham, and Bellingham finds Borges. It's an easy finish for him, and it's 1-1. Back on a level playing field as we reach the half-hour point in this first half. And it's Real Madrid coming down the left-hand side again. Malik needs to take care of that, and he hasn't done. And they've cut through us with relative ease here. So much for a first-choice back four. Goodness me, they've just ripped through us as if we weren't there. It's a shot from range, and Blanco, thankfully, has flapped his arms at it a little bit, and that seems to be enough to have kept it out. Still 1-1. Arsenal have beaten Leipzig in the earlier kickoff, so they're already through to the semi-final, which means I guess we can't have that all-Kev semi-final that we dreamed of. There's two of my former teams going to be facing off in one of the other quarterfinals. Malik now on the right-hand side. This would be a perfect time for us to grab a goal to put us in the lead, but that's a poor pass from Jallo. Bellingham couldn't get there, and now Madrid are in, and they've hit the crossbar, just to remind us that they are quite good at football too. 1-1 at half-time. We're only allowed 3 substitutions in this tournament. Yet another reason why I love it so. I mean, this is what we want. In the middle of pre-season, a tournament where we're only allowed to make 3 changes. That's fewer changes than we're allowed in the normal league game when nobody's match fit. It's super duper. But Real Madrid in again, and Malik just kind of watched it go past him. But thankfully, the shooting is a little awry, and it remains 1-1. But Real certainly looking like the most likely to grab a goal at this point. We're going to offer a little bit of encouragement. We're also trying to keep an eye on the fitness levels of everybody. And I think now is probably the time for us to make our 3 changes. Jude Bellingham is going to come off, and we're going to bring on Filipov for him. We're going to stick Borges out onto the right-hand side and get Aspas on up front, who scored 4 goals in his previous game, and I think we leave it there for now. And if we need to make a 3rd change, we will make it a little bit further in. That's lovely football from Borges. Released Jallo, who's ridden that challenge quite well, but then doesn't have the finish. It's gone way over from Jallo. That's his final contribution to the match. Borges now moved on to that right-hand side. Aspas is on, and we've got a corner. It's Borges to take, and Corgi, legendary defender Corgi, with the header that goes just over. It remains 1-1. We have got one more change. What are we going to throw on? Kone's had a poor game. I think Jean Carlos is probably the man to come on in that inside forward role and see if he's got a winner for us, or any of the front 3. They're all very good. I don't know what happens if it's a draw. Does it go to extra time? It looks like it goes to extra time, which is insane. It's pre-season. We can only do 3 subs, and we played 2 days ago. And we might have to go to extra time if we can ride out this Real Madrid attack here. Although we might grab a win of our own. It's Aspas. He's all on his own, and just didn't know what to do, did he? That's probably a situation where we'd have been better off having Sen on the pitch, who with a little bit more physicality could have kept hold of that, held the ball up a little bit, and maybe allowed players around him to get into the game. But Borges now plays it forward to Aspas, who's on his own again. This time does manage to turn and has released an injured Filipov, who plays it back to Malik. Malik, the ball forward over the top to Aspas. He's got to play a square of him. I can't even see who it is. It's hit the crossbar thanks to a big deflection. Was it Ramon in the middle? I didn't see who it was. It's gone to extra time, though. We didn't budget for this, that's for sure. Filipov is just going to have to play on injured. Because I think it's time to get Sen onto the pitch. If we're assuming we're allowed another substitution, we are allowed another substitution. Sen's going to come on as the Raumdeuter. It's more important for us to have players on to attack than defend. I imagine that's the same view that Real Madrid will have taken. There's probably going to be goals in this extra time as defences start to tire and fresh attackers make it onto the pitch, and that is close. A shot from range that very nearly nestled into that top corner. It's still 1-1. We're going to offer a little bit more encouragement as we reach the halfway point in extra time. This tournament is so stupid. I mean, if we make it past this lot, we've got another match just like... These are not the matches you need at this stage of the season. What was wrong with the old rubbish format of the Club World Cup? It wasn't great, but it wasn't this bad. This is awful. It's 1-1. And it looks like it is going to be extra time. Not only did we not get goals in extra time as predicted, we didn't even get any more highlights. So it is straight into penalty shootout. Jean Carlos is looking anxious and is the 5th penalty taker. That cannot go wrong. Let's prove it, shall we? It'll be fine. It'll all be wrapped up before then. We're going to have a masterclass from Blanco. That's what we're hoping for here. It's 1-0 to Real Madrid. If Carlos now misses his penalty, you lot are going to say that might have been my fault, aren't you? Sem stepping up, and he doesn't score. We're getting knocked out of this again, aren't we? I wish I cared. I do care. I want to be top of the Hall of Fame, but not like this. Oh, and Blanco's made the save. Maybe we do want to win this tournament after all. Aspas now is going to step up. Can he draw us level? This is both of our strikers going early in this penalty shootout, and they've both missed. I mean, what is the point? We may as well just get on a plane and go home. Where are we? Spain? Get me on a plane. This is ridiculous. Rooney stepping up for Madrid, who had that effort, the one highlight in extra time where it whistled over the crossbar, and he makes it 2-0, and that is pretty much all over. When we already know Jean Carlos is going to miss. Corgi now stepping up to take his penalty. A miss here, and we are done. And he doesn't miss. It's 2-1. We need a couple of big moments from Blanco. Camavinga, who must be getting on a bit now. Camavinga for Real Madrid versus Blanco of Liverpool. And it's another goal for Real Madrid. It's 3-1. And now we must score to stay in the penalty shootout and to stay in the Club World Cup, which, as you can imagine, is something we really, really want to do. Ramon is the man who's going to step up. Spanish international Ramon against probably still the most decorated team in these kind of tournaments in Spain, and Ramon scores, and now we need that Blanco moment. Jean Carlos might not even have to take his penalty thanks to the first 2 penalty takers, our 2 strikers just flopping, and it's Real Madrid versus Blanco. Some fellow Fornals. It's a world-class name. Is it going to be a world-class penalty? It's not. He's hit the post, and now all the pressure is on the guy who looked anxious at the start of the penalty shootout. I said it earlier. I'll remind you again what I said. Jean Carlos looks anxious. He's taking the 5th penalty. This can't go wrong. Let's find out if I was right, boys and girls. Number 10, Jean Carlos steps up, potentially the last kick of this year's non-lethal legend, and he scores it. I told you it can't go wrong. You got to have a little bit of faith. We're into sudden death. We might be having a remarkable comeback in this penalty shootout. It's now 4-3 to Real Madrid, and Malik, I think, is up next for us. I think he was our 6th taker because I did consider swapping 5th and 6th over when I saw that Jean Carlos was anxious. Malik is a youngster coming to the end of a very long first season in English football. He must score once again to keep us in the tournament, and he does. It's 4-4. It's one of those penalty shootouts, is it? Oh, I'm glad I've got a beverage. Goodness me. Yeah, this one's going to go on for a bit. What should we talk about? This is why there's only one match in this video, because I knew this was going to happen. I had the other two are recorded, but I knew it'd be a 40-minute video just because of this penalty shootout. It's going to go on for ages. What time is it? Goodness me, I'm trying to record these videos so I can go on holiday. Callum Boy, the youngster, steps up and scores. I thought that one had been saved. No, it hadn't been. The penalty shootout's a long way from over just yet. Goodness me, I've got Siri talking to me now as well. What is going on? There's a podcast coming out of my pocket, I think. Where is my phone? My phone is playing a podcast now. It's all gone wrong. I don't know why that's happened. I think it's because I looked at my watch. It's still going on, though, this penalty shootout. Peralta taking our 8th penalty. Real Madrid have been relentless with theirs. Peralta, and finally, it's all over. I didn't want to go top of the Hall of Fame like this anyway. I think this is a fitting end to this year's non-league to legend. Peralta missing a penalty in the quarterfinal of the Club World Cup. I've broken some. I mean, we fixed the playoff curse this year as part of non-league to legend. I didn't want to fix the Club World Cup one until the Club World Cup itself is fixed. I would have felt wrong winning a competition that is so stupid the way it's structured. So, alas, we didn't win it. And that is that. That is the end of this year's non-league to legend. There won't be a video tomorrow because that was the one that I had scheduled or planned in my head. That was going to be the semi-final and final of this if we got there. Friday, you'll get 5 years in the future. And then on Monday, you'll get episode 1 of the new series, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I'll tell you all about that in the 5 years in the future. I might just keep you guessing. Just a bookmark, 4 o'clock Monday. It's going to be awesome. Thank you all for the incredible support on this year's non-league to legend. I know we've gone on a little bit longer than we normally do, but it has just been incredible. Phenomenal support. We were still getting 30,000 plus views a day as we were hitting 100 episodes on the series. I know we tailed off a little bit. A lot of you weren't that interested in Italy, it seems. And we had the usual thing of once we won the Champions League, a few of you lost interest. I get it, but I've really enjoyed it. This is the most fun I've had with a non-league to legend. That's why I've been so reluctant to stop it. But stop it. We now have second in the Hall of Fame, thanks to Peralta missing a penalty. It's all his fault. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll join me on Friday for 5 years in the future, and then on Monday for episode 1 of the new series. And it's going to be lots of fun. So for the last time on this year's non-league to legend, which, by the way, obviously non-league to legend will be back for FM24. Don't worry about that. In fact, by now, because I'm recording this like 2 weeks in advance, so I could go on holiday, but by now you might know who my starting team is for non-league to legend FM24, because I always start with the club closest to my house in the lowest playable league that I've not managed on YouTube before. I live in Leicester. Feel free to get your maps out and work out who my starting team is for next year. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.